trade relations with progressive nations such as China, Russia, and nations within BRICS who do not use foreign policy as an instrument to impose their will or bully other nations into submission. The EFF has welcomed the ceasefire in Gaza following the massacre of Palestinians by apartheid Israel and what can only be described as a genocide. For too long, the world has turned a blind eye to the human rights atrocities in Palestine, which include the killing of women and children, bombarding of hospitals, schools, and religious sites of worship, and displacement of Palestinians from their rightful land. The ceasefire must not mean that there will not be accountability for the death of more than 100,000 Palestinian people since the latest genocidal attacks on Palestinians by Israel. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the Israeli Defense Force remain war criminals. The warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, against Netanyahu must remain enforceable, and South Africa must lead by example by implementing the resolution of the Sixth National Assembly, which include the expulsion of the Israeli embassy from South Africa and cutting of all diplomatic ties with Israel. The EFF notes the drastic improvements in the city of Tshwane since the removal of the Democratic Alliance from governance. For 8 years, the DA controlled Tshwane, but their tenure was marked by systematic neglect of black communities and extreme fear-mongering that black leadership from the EFF will ruin the city. However, they oversaw the collapse of critical services and left behind the city in ruins. Since the DA's removal in 2024, Tshwane has made a significant strides. The EFF's MMCs have ushered in an era of progressive governance, demonstrating that the DA's absence does not equate to the failure of government. For the first time in years, the people of Hammanskraal have access to clean drinking water, a basic necessity that the DA failed to provide. The city is cleaner and safer, and resident concerns are attended to daily. The improvements seen in Tshwane stand as evidence that the DA governance model was never about service delivery for all, and their removal has allowed service delivery to thrive, proving that governance is more effective without their divisive, exclusionary policies. Furthermore, as we have entered into the year of the picket lines, we have a clear head start targeting service delivery failures and ensuring tangible improvements where we govern. In the city of Johannesburg, public safety and visibility are at the highest level under our leadership. Our presence in the Johannesburg municipality has ensured that communities experience real and impactful governance. The same dedication is evident in Ekurhuleni and Nelson Mandela Bay, where the EFF is actively addressing service delivery challenges. In Ekurhuleni, the provision of water and infrastructure maintenance is on track, ensuring that residents receive the basic services they deserve. Meanwhile, in Nelson Mandela Bay, the EFF is making significant difference for the indigent, particularly old age homes, by facilitating the cancellation of their municipal debt. These victories demonstrate our commitment to economic freedom and dignity for all, proving that where the EFF leads, service delivery follows. We call on all of our fighters to remain focused and disciplined and rally behind the collective efforts to return the EFF to the people. The EFF remains the most potent weapon for the liberation in South Africa, and under the theme of the year of the picket line, we will uplift the lives of the poorest of the poor towards the decisive election victory in 2026 local government elections. Let us build strong, genuine and organic structures of the EFF which will service our people and assume governance. Let us defend, rebuild and advance the struggle for economic freedom, in our lifetime. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Commander-in-Chief and the officials. We'll now open the question and answer session. My name is Sinawa Tambo, National Spokesperson of the EFF. We'll start with the first round of hands. You'll be number 1, you'll be number 2, you'll be number 3, and we'll move in that fashion. Number 1.
Shannon Merrick, Scarsi Broadcasting Africa, all protocol observed. I'll start with international issues. Hopefully I can come back with local issues. The President of America has alluded to the issue of land expropriation with or without compensation. He doesn't even care. He's saying South Africa don't have a right, it's a racist policy, it's against white and so on. Can the President of EFF just go deeper into it? Because I know you said it's a watered down, almost a fake land expropriation policy. What is the EFF real policy on land expropriation? To Elon Musk, the owner of social media, the richest man in the world, has an issue with BEE, broad-based black economic empowerment in South Africa. He's also saying that policy is not up to standard, his standard, whatever the case may be. What is the EFF's position on broad-based black economic empowerment? Last but not least, China launched DeepSeek, the latest AI technology. It took America, it took the world by storm. The war between Palestine and Israel was done by missiles, AI technology and so on. As you alluded to as well, SABC is struggling to launch an app, just to run an app for media. What do you think South Africa should do in terms of AI technology? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2.
Samkela myself from the SABC. On the issues of local government, just the EFF's point of view on the removal of the mayor, of the district mayor of Sidibeng, and ultimately your next position when it comes to Mfuleni. What is your posture on that particular aspect? What are the negotiations around the recomposition of the EXCO of the Sidibeng district and Mfuleni? Secondly, on the deployments of the conveners of provinces, looking at your electoral outcome in KwaZulu-Natal, what are some of your priority areas in trying to claw back the lost ground, particularly with the deployments you've made to that particular province? Then lastly, on international relations, the government of the day, the government of national unity, do you perceive it to be reneging on moving away from the West, particularly with the spats that are now being out in the glare with President Donald Trump of the United States basically issuing those threats to South Africa at this point in time? Do you see the current administration working with the West or moving towards the South-South bloc and towards the East? Thank you.
Number 3.
Thank you very much. Molo Kumloto is my name from ENCA. Just 3 quick questions. Starting with you calling on South Africa to take decisive action against Kigali, should it be found that they actually killed our soldiers there. Are you only limiting this to the cutting of diplomatic ties, or are you calling on South Africa to pick up arms and essentially confront Rwanda, should it be determined that indeed they killed our servicemen and women? Second question on developments coming from Washington. How would you respond to the views that says, as much as South Africa, we have a right as a sovereign country, we have a right to develop our policies and our legislation and choosing our international friends. On the same token, those who possibly do give us funding in whatever form also have a right to determine who they give their money to, and we should live with that. Lastly, you are governing with the ANC in a few metros. I don't know whether you have, because you at some point you did openly say that you still want to govern at the national level. Of course, you wouldn't want to be part of that government if the DA and the FF Plus are part of it. Have you given up on those ambitions, or are discussions
being heard to that effect.
Thank you very much, President.
Thank you very much. The EFF policy is the expropriation of land without compensation, and we make no apology about it. It's actually our first non-negotiable cardinal pillar. And the Expropriation Act, as signed now recently by the President, is nowhere closer to that. If anything, it tries to justify the compensation, that properties can be expropriated, land can be expropriated, but there should be compensation, and condition of expropriating such is that there should be, expropriation should be in the interest of the public, for public use and public interest. So it has watered down what we have been asking for, because ours was a complete no-no on the compensation, but equally complete no-no into excluding the whole thing to public interest and public purpose. Because we want to take land and give to the landless, so that they can produce for their own sustainability, but for the sustainability of South Africa and the world at large, because we think it's the right thing to do. BEE, broad-based economic empowerment, it's a policy that should be implemented, whether there is Elon Musk involved or not. It must not be a policy for certain people and a policy for other people. Whatever Elon Musk wants to come and do here, you must make sure there is participation of the previously disadvantaged people. Black people must participate in that transaction. Well, you know, we always put an emphasis that there should be more money into research and innovation if we are to keep up with the AI. China has got capacity to overtake America because they've invested a lot in innovation and research, and they've come to appreciate that AI is here to stay and it will be with us for quite some time. So it doesn't take us, it doesn't take anything away from us if we're to put the necessary resources, because our children, despite the fact that they are learning in difficult conditions, they are talented, and that talent needs to be harnessed and channeled in a right direction. We supported the removal of the mayor of Sedibeng, and Mfuleni was supporting the removal, because if you want to know a typical example of a corrupt, collapsed municipality, you must go to Mfuleni. You sometimes say Johannesburg inner city is gone, it's rotten. Well, we agree with that fully. We have no doubt about it, and we have always engaged the ANC about it, that something needs to be done. Unfortunately, we are not given that responsibility. It's not our department. It's like the Department of Roads of Kenigu 9, who goes around showing people that the trees have fallen. And then at one tree in a suburb, and then he makes a big issue out of it because he's challenged. He's running out of depth. He has no idea what is he doing there. He thought that department could be converted into department of sushi and entertainment and anything of that sort. And he got more than what he bargained for. That's why you can't succeed to fix robots. robots. It's not a duty of public safety to fix the robots. It's Kenny Kunen, and you all speak about it. The robots are not working, but you never dare to call Kenny Kunen out. I don't know whether it is because there's something you are smoking with him or what, I don't know. But the guy is just incompetent and lazy. He can't fix a robot. There are potholes all over Johannesburg, potholes. There was an incident that happened somewhere here in one street, was it Bree Street, where they hired a Zimbabwean company. That time his department is led by Mabahambe, but Mabahambe, the first opportunity they got to get a person to tend and come and fix a road, they hired a Zimbabwean person. And then they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get that thing done because they weren't taking a lot of money from that guy. So yet he didn't have any capacity to can do that work because the money was stolen from him. As a result, we still have corrugated ions in the middle of a city center. We're told that that's a site establishment. They are trying to fix something there. So we cannot, even when we are working with these people in one municipality or the other, not be in a good position to call them out and say these ones are corrupt. The ANC comrades are corrupt. You know, each one of those Mfuleni people, if you go and check their petrol claims per month, the lowest is 30,000. We don't spend that, but we travel the whole country. Some of us are west because we go to Limpopo 3 times before anything happens. So, but we don't spend 30,000. So we're not being an Mfuleni employee with 30,000. Where are you going? God, Mfuleni is just here. Where are you going? Clearly, they found some creative way of getting money out of that petrol, and then they are inflating prices and then getting something in return. That municipality, if anything, voting out the mayor is not enough. They must dissolve that municipality. It must be dissolved. The same thing with DBA, it must be dissolved. And then we go into an election and let the voters have a choice to elect them again. You know, municipalities get dissolved, we come back with the same crop of people. There is no problem. We must never get tired, because the communities must know that as long as they are not getting it right, they are not going to be left out of it until a solution is found. So to try and fix it amongst ourselves as politicians is not working. So let's go back to the electorate and say the outcome did not give us what is desirable when it comes to service delivery, and then let's go back. So our call will be that Mfuleni must be dissolved. But if the motion goes in tomorrow, we will vote against that mayor of the ANC. You could have seen the KZN deployment is way bigger than any other deployment in any other provinces, because we take what happened there very serious, and we want to turn the things around. And we think that the people that we have sent there are ready for that task, and they can change the political sphere. All you need in KZN is a political willingness to work hard for the EFF, and it will turn around. Politics are like that. They are not static. They change from time to time. Depending on the kind of work you do, you can tilt the balance of forces to be in your favor. And that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to become permanent residents of KZN from time to time. We're going to make sure we go there to give our comrades support. Look at our comrades in that municipality. What is it called? where they arrested Mongezi. Mhlatuzi, they arrest Mongezi and the other comrades, our provincial chairperson and the other comrades. Because they are demanding, rightfully so, that there are people who are expelled from the EFF, but yet they are still in the municipality as councillors. Why? Because they are voting with IFP, and the mayor is IFP, the municipal manager is IFP, so they're like, no, we can't remove these people because we need these votes. So when we say, but this is corruption, this is not acceptable, they say, no, we have a problem. Then they arrest Mongezi, our provincial chair, this morning. He goes to court. He gets arrested with our regional secretary, who is a lawyer. He goes to court. The magistrate comes there and says, no, I can't proceed with this case. I know this guy who is accused. Therefore, I'm conflicted. Then he leaves. They sleep inside the cells. The following day, they bring a different magistrate who is briefed that these are the accused, this is the situation, and all of that. That magistrate goes in there. He says, when he arrives, that first one even said, I'm leaving because I was intimidated by a police officer. The second one says, no, I'm also conflicted. I know this guy. What they say, okay, fine. You may not deal with this guy's issue, but these ones you don't know them. So they've got their own individual right. You can release them and refuse with this one that you don't know. You don't want. No. Let's adjourn and let me talk to my superiors. Then he calls the superior in Durban. They say, no, you can't deal with that matter. Leave it. Our comrades sleep in the holding cells for 2 nights. And the following, after we made noise and called everywhere else and say, but there is no such a thing. We're being arrested, many of us, at times. But we've now been subjected to such a thing. The bail was not even dealing with the merits of the case to a point where you can say, I'm conflicted. You can just do the bail and then tell your superiors that I can't proceed with that case because I'm conflicted. So there was a coordinated arrangement to try and frustrate the EFF in Mhlatuzi, and the magistrate found themselves at the center of that nonsense. We are going to complain to magistrates commission so that that conduct can be taken up. And so KZN, we are going to work there, and we are going to make sure we turn the things around. We've made it very clear that we are more than prepared to join the ANC and work in the government of national unity. But we can't do it with the people who killed Chrisani, the people who tortured our own people, the people who oppressed us, the people who are advocating that every progressive policy must not be implemented. That's why you've got this noise from Donald Trump. They are at the center of that. They thought they were going to bully the ANC in that GNU, and the ANC will develop a cold feet. The ANC is pushing forward ahead. They now are seeking external intervention, which seeks to undermine the sovereignty of South Africa. So the ANC must know that we are just outside, we're at the doorstep. Once they remove the DA and they want a partner, we are in. There's no government that is going to collapse here, because Helen Zille says so. We're not going to hear from Helen Zille. So, yeah. Look, we're being modest when we say if Rwanda is found that it has killed our soldiers, it must be held responsible. It was Rwanda, it was Kigali, it was Kagame who killed our soldiers. The support he gave to M23 And that M23 act in a disrespectful manner they did to the South African soldiers. They knew they've got a backing of Rwanda. But now why do you want to treat Rwanda like it's a friend, like it's progressive? Rwanda was prepared to take immigrants from London at the exchange of money. They are the ones who are working with imperialist forces to want to undermine DRC. We're not saying the government of DRC is perfect, but it cannot be undermined the way the guy is doing. Kagame and Museveni. So Kagame has got blood of South Africans on his hands, and nothing is going to change. Now we're told the bodies are decomposing. There's no clear passage to can go and collect the bodies. They've captured the South African base, by the way, and they're not telling you this in confidence. They keep on talking as if things are fine. Things are not fine. They've captured the base next to the airport. What is that airport? The Goma airport. Our base is captured there. Our soldiers are under the supervision of M23. When they want to go to a toilet, they ask for permission from M23 and they accompany them to a toilet. This were told by a soldier on the phone. Deputy President of the EFF was there. He says the only thing they haven't done to belittle us and make us more humiliated and violated is that they've not taken our guns. That's the only thing. But even if they carry those guns, what can they do? You're going to shoot and run away. Because you've got soldiers inside your camp and more soldiers outside your camp. So there's no need. They know you can't do anything with those guns. So they have destroyed the South African army. You could say we cut the budget, but you still send soldiers outside South Africa. You still send soldiers outside South Africa even when you don't have budget. You must first deal with your house first to be in order before you can go and help other people. South Africa's army is not in order. Someone was saying the fighter, they've released fighter jets, on good road. There's nothing, there's no fighter jet, nothing. Till today, there's nothing. Where is that Roy Falk we're told growing up that is the best fighting machine? Where is it? Grounded. And then because this failure is done by favorites of the establishment, they are not exposing their failures. If it was a different government, for sure, the pictures of those soldiers of South Africa who were captured were going to be circulating. The reason why we no longer see those videos of South Africans, they took phones away from them. They no longer have phones. So there is a big problem. We have no capacity. That's why I'm not saying let's go and attack. I'm saying withdraw. Let's regroup. Let's regroup and retrain. And if Rwanda has got anything to do with this, let's go for it. Because we're not going to have Rwanda dictating to us. And Kagame speaking to Cyril the way he was doing. We know Cyril is weak, but he made the president of our country. The way he was addressing Cyril was addressing us. He can't address us like that. He can't kill our people and not be challenged on that. And SADC agrees that the Rwandan army had something to do with what is happening there. Who is the commander-in-chief of the Rwandan armed forces is Kagame. We are not saying DRC is in a good hands and therefore it's just being provoked by how DRC has dealt with issues in Eastern DRC. is something that needs to be resolved if we're to have a permanent resolution into that crisis. But to undermine colonial borders because you think you've got a backing of France and all imperialist forces to an extent of challenging the biggest army South Africa, they've undermined us to the extreme. And South Africa, at some point, it might not be today because we are not in a rightful position to do so. Let the soldiers come back. Let our brothers and sisters come back. Let's give them a dignified funeral. And as part of a mourning nation, that demonstration by army at the opening of Parliament was not supposed to come. They were not supposed to have that parade on Thursday during the State of the Nation address. You are going to parade what, man? Agar parade is to show us how capable you are. You are exposed. They are going to be intimidating us there with 21 gun salute as if they can use it anywhere else. It can only be used there during rehearsals. So if I was in the army, I would suggest even Parliament, we don't go. We must be ashamed. The only way we are going to reclaim our dignity is by receiving those dead bodies, bringing back the soldiers, giving the dead bodies a dignified send-off, and regrouping and retraining and putting a very strong team that will go back and reclaim South Africa's place in the continental politics, because as things stand, we're a joke.
Thank you, President. We'll take the final round of questions, if there are any, including from those who arrived late. You'll be number 1, you'll be number 2, you'll be number 3, you'll be number 4, and you'll be number 5. Number 1.
Good day, Nkosinathi Shazi from our FM News. I just have one question to Mr. Malema. With the State of the Nation set to take place this week, apologies. What is your relationship with the Umkhonto weSizwe Party regarding the Progressive Caucus in Parliament? Of course, last year during the EFF conference, you declared Umkhonto weSizwe enemy number 1. How are the relations of the two parties, considering that you guys are the two biggest parties in the opposition of Parliament?
Number 2.
Mr. Malema, the EFF's game plan going into the State of the Nation address Thursday evening. What's your game plan going into the Sona speech? Thank you.
Number 3.
Shannon Merrick, Broadcasting Africa, 2026 local elections. And we know the previous election results. In some wards, EFF had 100 members on the books. On voting day, it got 10 votes. How is EFF going to deal with that, where the members on the books of EFF and the votes don't tally? That's the one thing. The second thing is with regards to issues in communities. EFF said it's going back to the streets. I'm just using my own slogan, going back to the streets. Now, we know in the communities there are serious issues, and communities need not ward councillors, but they need intervention same time. Is EFF going to make available like contact details of different people in the wards where the people can communicate to as part of the Back to the Street campaign? Last but not least, Eskom on Friday announced they're going to do load shedding on Saturday. EFF said they're going back to the streets on Sunday. Load shedding is suspended. I don't know, does these things have anything to do with each other? Thank you.
Number 4.
My name is Samtala Kapa from News 24. Mr. Malema, I'm going to start with I'll take it back a bit with the theme for the return to the picket lines, I think. I remember at The Rock, you said that the EFF will become a party of substance, a party that's just going to engage in parliament, none of the howling, etc. and now you're going back to the picket lines. I know that the EFF characterizes itself as a party, a protest movement, so to speak. Are you running out of ideas to grip the electorate and to get people excited and to convince people to vote for the party with the back and forth? Secondly, my second question is around the issues with the US. I'm reluctant to speculate and say you insinuated that GNU partners, co-governing President Cyril Ramaphosa, are behind what's unfolding in the US. I just need clarity. Are you saying that the DA, I mean, we've seen some right-wing organizations coming out from Orania to say that Orania and Solidarity, they've said that they've been meeting with the US, they'll meet with them again around this. But I want to be clear when it comes to the Democratic Alliance. What are you saying? Thank you.
Number 5. Thank you very much. President.
We're not members of MK. We're going to Parliament as EFF. As to what happens with MK, I don't know. We don't know anything. We don't have anything that has got to do with MK. It just happened that we sit next to them in Parliament. And when issues are raised, we don't first listen to what MK is saying before we can formulate a view. Whether MK is agreeing or not agreeing on any view we hold, it is an EFF view and we'll express it. If they agree with our view, we'll both express it. But it doesn't make us anything. Well, we're not anything. We literally don't want anything to do with MK. We even ask them not to come to federals of EFF. Don't want to see them. Even us, we have stopped going to the DAB because we don't want to meet them by mistake, by the DAB day. But DP has raised a very creative method. You know, we can go to the DAB, we'll have a separate suit where we'll go, can we meet them in that thing of presidential, what. Because that presidential thing, you meet a lot of clowns there. So the best thing, let's stay away from those things. Don't want anything to do with this. This will be the second State of the Nation address by the President after the elections. And nothing changed from our approach in the first one to this one. We've made it clear that we're going to be a party we've always been, a party of substance, a party of superior logic, a party that is going to give more input, more constructive input. But it doesn't mean we can't be robust in our approach. It doesn't mean we can't be radical and militant in our approach. So you can't say, my sister, when you are running out of questions and say people are running out of ideas, it's you running out of questions. How does picket line have to do with Parliament? I mean, you want to sound intellectual, but in the process, you're so empty. You say, you said in Parliament you can't do 1, 2, 3, park that one. You said in Parliament you can't do that 1, 2, 3, park that one. And then you say, but now you are saying you're going to the picket lines. Are you running out of ideas? What does that have to do with Parliament? If we don't ask sponsored questions, rather our questions are subjected to a thought process. Before you throw insults at people and say they are running out of ideas, you should check if you are not running out of questions. And if you are running out of questions, it's not necessary to ask a question if you don't have one for the sake of doing it. So no one is running out of any question. For 12 years now, for 12 years, every year, Maulem, 12 years now, every year EFF has come with a theme for the year. Every year. And it has never been the same theme to demonstrate we're not running out of ideas. If it was the same theme, we would be running out of ideas. It's not the same theme. So if you come with an intention to swear, and if there's nothing you can swear at, and you just swear anyway, it's unnecessary. It has got a potential to destroy a serious potential. When you go to a press conference like this, go with an open-minded. Let's go and hear what they're saying and ask questions that are relevant, not sponsored views. ESCOM load shedding is not gone. I don't think they are clear what they want to do. You see that job, we've got a very good CEO there. He needs to be given support, and all kinds of support must be given to him. But that celebrity wannabe mayor must know his limit. Because if he thinks he can now compete the CEO of ESCOM, that ESCOM achievement on not having load shedding are attributed to him as an individual. He wants self-gratification, self-glorification. That is going to undermine the good work that people are doing there. He must chill. He's got no idea what he's doing. Let him leave those people to do what they're doing. And we've got full confidence in the CEO of ESCOM, and we hope that he will not disappoint. We hope he will, within a short space of time, give us a permanent solution, because there must be a permanent solution out of this. The GNU partners are working with USA. They are working with the USA, because how do you differentiate Freedom Front Plus from AfriForum, from Solidarity, from Orania, and all manner of things? And if you come to a conclusion that these things are one, their principle is the GA. I'm saying to you that people here who are using scare tactics, hoping that the ANC will develop a cold feet. So, because they can't find their way, they go and call on their big brothers to come and bully the ANC. So, the ANC is not in a coalition with people who share a vision with them. That's why they're struggling the way they're struggling. They just went around picking up riffraff and then putting it in a government of national unity. And when you ask, but why do you do what you are doing? They say, no, we want power. It's about power. They don't care whether you are a bandit, whether you have a good reputation in society, anything that can give them power, they will go for it. They are working with parties that are giving our children drugs in El Dorado Park, feeding children drugs, and everywhere else. And how do you, in your conscious, rightful mind, be so proud to work with people who have got no regard for female, that a leader of a party you are working with can just call a female private part in public like that, and then you call that a partner, because you are so desperate to get power. It's all about power. They don't care about integrity. They don't care about the legitimacy. They don't care what does this do to the image of our country. And then they go away from those who are not very close, who are not very far on policy perspective with them, and choose ex-prisoners, some riff-raff, some you can't even explain whether they are going or they are coming. So I guess maybe South Africans get the government we deserve. Maybe you deserve this kind of government. But the ANC has never bothered to take you into confidence, politically and ideologically, as to why would you go with the enemy agents in bed? Why would you go in bed with people who killed Christian and say we can kill him again if we get an opportunity to do so? Why do you go with people who have killed our people in Flag Plus and say we can do it again? There's no problem. Then what were we fighting for? If the reality is that these people can continue to lead even after we claim victory. So the ANC must be ashamed that it has put South Africans where they put them. They must be ashamed that they are actually peeing on the graves of heroes and heroines of our struggle. Peter Mokaba should be turning in his grave. Because there is a video of Peter Mokaba that says, we are not in a struggle of power sharing. We can't share power with the clerk. And then someone goes and gives a lecture about Peter Mokaba as if he knows him. But if you know Peter Mokaba, you can't advocate for the things that Mokaba never stood for. Mokaba made it very clear. We are not negotiating for power sharing. We can't share power with the clerk. We can't share power with murderers. I will not be shocked one day when they say Netanyahu is a special advisor of Cyril Ramaphosa. They've got no shame, this group. At all. They have no shame at all. Their political consciousness has escaped them. So we will not do that. If it means staying outside, so be it. You will rather die with your conscience very clear. There's an old man who died very poor in Limpopo called Lawrence Poganuk. He was in Robben Island, an astute intellectual, very clear on Marxism, on Lenin. Ideological clarity was something else. He died not being anything, not holding anything material and otherwise, because he said, but this is not what we're fighting for. He had the best credential compared to all the clowns that were leading when he was still alive. But he refused to participate in any government of these people. He said, no, this is not what we're fighting about. This is not us. And I hope Lawrence Poganuga will not be turning in his grave. I hope he will be smiling that what he warned us about is exactly what is happening right in front of our eyes. And that proves him right, that indeed Lawrence Poganuga was right about these people. This is not what our people fought for. This is a complete reversal of the gains of 1994. The gains which we should be using this government of today, where there is no outright winner, to say, how do we build on the gains of 1994? So be rest assured, the EFF, it's a growing organization. It's a very powerful organization. And in all respect, and they all know. That's why when they all go crazy, they attack the EFF because they know it's an unstoppable force. We are now going to establish sub-regional structures. Why? We're moving away from elitist structures of people just moving around with titles with no clear role and going closer to the people. We now are consolidating all the youth under one umbrella because the youth hold a critical role in the politics of South Africa. And we know that this youth commander of the EFF is the one that will be leading the charge. You must just look at how the EFF is going to massively be mobilizing both young and old people behind the vision of economic freedom in our lifetime. We don't run out of ideas in the EFF. We don't run out of attracting people in the EFF. So you can't say, are you struggling to attract people? We can go to FNB or Orlando Stadium or any other field and people will come. We'll attract people because we've got ideas that are attractive. We attract young people because our ideas resonate with young people and we're the only thing that makes sense to the youth of South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Commander-in-Chief, members of the media, the officials, and people of South Africa. That concludes the EFF press conference. And the members